everybody, it's Heather. I am just now logging on here. I hope everybody had a great week, and I have got some fun stuff in store for you tonight. Let's see what's been going on this week. Last weekend I had my big Christmas event, and it was a lot of fun. If you are in the Spokane area, I am planning on doing more of those. It went well, and I'm excited to bring more to you, but I'm also looking at ways to offer something like that virtually. So if you're not from Spokane and you want to participate in something like that, know that I have something kind of tickle in the back of my mind right now, and I'm hoping to put something together maybe around the first of the year. We have a new mini catalog that comes out January 1st-ish, maybe the 3rd, something like that. But the beginning of January, and I'd like to do something to kick that off. So keep an eye out for more details about that. Let's see, I'm trying to think if there's really anything else exciting to tell you guys about. I don't think so. I don't live a horribly exciting life. I know, it's shocking. So how about if we turn this around and we go ahead and get started? I have a few promotions I want to tell you about, little housekeeping stuff, and then we'll get started on our cards. How's that sound? Okay, as always, you guys, talk to me throughout. Say hello if you're here for the first time. Well, whether it's your first time or not, be sure to say hello. I'd love to know who's online and watching. And if it's your first time, tell me where you're from. I love to hear where everybody's coming from. If you enjoy what you're watching, please share this video. You never know who on your feed might be interested in something like this, and sharing it is what helps me to grow my business. Growing my business is what allows me to keep providing free tutorials like this to you guys. Also, at the end of every video, every Wednesday, when we're done here, I upload it to YouTube. So if you have friends who might be interested but aren't on Facebook, they can also go to my channel on YouTube. They just need to search for Stamp Happenings, and they will find these videos to be able to watch. And I'm trying to build up my viewership over there as well. So be sure to follow me over there if you don't already. Let's see, anything else? I don't know. You know me, I'll keep talking throughout the whole night, so if something comes to me, I'll let you know. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay. So actually, I want to click on this so I can see your comments. Oh, let's see. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so you're right side up now. That was weird. Okay. Oh, I have to turn off my sound. Hey, Robin. Hey, Talina and Eric. So, okay, so today is the last day you can subscribe to the November paper pumpkin with the cute little gift boxes. I've talked about these before, so I won't go into a whole lot of detail. I just want to remind you that today is the last day you can order this. So if you're wanting it and you've put it off, you want to make sure to take care of it tonight. I don't know yet what the December one's going to look like, so I don't have a flyer yet about that one, but I will keep you posted. Also, I want to give you a heads up. We've got a great seasonal sale coming up on Tuesday. It's going to run Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the 16th, 17th, and 18th. And our cardstock, our ink pads, and our dies that are in the annual catalog are going to be on sale. Cardstock will be 10% off, ink pads will be 15% off, and dies are going to be 20% off. So if you've got a wish list going, this is a great time to stock up on those things. Speaking of having a wish list going, if your wish list is more than $75, this is a fabulous time to join my team. Whether you want to build a business and do what I do or just get the discount on the products, right now the Stampin' Up Demonstrator Kit is $75. It's normally $99, but right now for the month of November it's only $75. With it, you get to pick out $125 worth of products of your choice. You get a free paper pumpkin kit, you get free shipping, and you get 20 to 25% off on all your future orders. So, plenty of people join Stampin' Up just for the discount. I will never push you to do more than you want to do. So like I said, if you're just interested in the discount, hit me up. Let's get you signed up because this is a great time to give it a whirl. If you sign up and then you decide this is not for you, you just want to go back to being a regular customer, then you can do that. No hard feelings on any side. And like I said, you just go back to being a customer. So if this interests you, you can find out more on my website at heathersides.stampinup.net, or you can contact me and we can talk about it. Okay, so let's get going with our first card. The first card we have here is a bit of a fun fold. I saw another demonstrator do this named Dina Rico. She made this on one of her videos last week, I think. Maybe it was earlier this week, and I really liked it. So we're going to do this tonight, and it opens up like this, and there you go. So let's go ahead and get started. It looks like there's a lot to it, but it really is quite easy to make. So move it out of the way. Put this here because you're going to want to see these dimensionals. Oh my goodness, you know what? I forgot to cut the main piece for the card, so hang on. That makes me wonder if I forgot to do it on the other cards as well. Well, I guess we'll find out, won't we? Okay, so what I have here is a sheet of regular cardstock. I have cut it to be 5.5 inches wide by 11 inches tall. So it does take up most of one sheet to do this. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to score it at, I don't know, can you see this? I'm going to score it at 1 3/4. Make sure to use my scoring blade, not my cutting blade. Then we're going to do it at 3.5. Then at 5 1/4. And then at 7. Okay, now let's move this trimmer out of the way. Okay, now I'm going to have to put my glasses on for this. Oh, I'm getting old. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to fold it on all of the score lines. Now, if you were paying attention as we went along, you probably realized that the base of my card, the back side of my card, the big piece here is only 4 inches wide, and a standard card is 4 1/4. But we are going to add a piece to it. And you know what? I just realized I cut the wrong cardstock. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's try this one more time. Oh, get it together, Heather. Okay. Fortunately, this only takes a moment. So 5.5 inches wide, and then I'm going to score it at 1 3/4. Three and a half, 5 1/4, and 7. Okay, let's try this again. Hey, how are you tonight? Okay, so as I was saying, this piece of the card right here, where this fold is only 4 inches wide instead of the normal 4 1/4, but we're going to add to it, so that's fine. So what you want to do now is fold on all of the score lines, and I'm just folding it back and forth. And I'm going to hit it with my bone folder to make sure those edges are nice and crisp. It is a little bulky because there are so many folds, so the crisper you can make those folds, probably the better. Okay, so it folds like this, so there's kind of an M off to the side that you can see here. Okay, so this is what the base of our card is going to look like. Now I have this cute little edge piece. This is what's going to go on the edge over here. Then I have, and by the way, I used our Frosted Gingerbread suite of products or collection of products here. I have used the Frosted Gingerbread stamps. I also used the gingerbread dies. And then I've also used the scalloped contours dies. So I'll show you which ones I use as we go along. And I've used the gingerbread paper, or designer series paper as well. And it's really cute, and there's so many fun patterns in it. It's definitely one I recommend. Let's make our envelope real quick. Okay, put a little glue here. Oh, it helps if you get the little glue booger out first. Okay, doo-dee-doo. Okay. Get that lined up on there. It's not quite far enough over. There we go. Okay, now find my scissors. And we're just going to trim the edge here. Okay, I do find that sometimes when I cut quickly, I do end up leaving a little bit of extra DSP over the edge like this. I don't think it really matters if you do that. I'm just picky that way, so I take a little bit of extra time and trim it off. But if you don't care, it probably doesn't really matter. Okay, now what we're going to do, I've got a piece of real red cardstock. This piece is 3 inches by 6 inches, and I scored it right down the middle at 3 inches. We're going to fold it in half like a little tiny card. Go ahead and crisp that edge. Then I also have a bigger piece of the DSP, and this piece is 3.5. I think it's 3 3/4, but let's check really quick. It's 3.5. Okay, so this piece is 3.5 by 5 1/4. Then I have all these fun little strips that are 1.5 inches by 5 1/4, and I have 4 of them in 2 different patterns. I have this fun little piece right here. This is what I cut from the Scalloped Contours dies. I used this second one right here. And then I've got 2 pieces of basic white cardstock. They're both 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. They're going to go on that red piece over here. And then I have 2 little snowflake gingerbread cookies. that I die cut out of the designer series paper. So I didn't even have to stamp these. They were already done for me. I just had to cut them out. And so, like I said, the dies right here, this snowflake die fit perfectly, and I just used that. So let's go ahead and build this guy. Start with the inside. Actually, I think what I want to do first is I want to take care of putting this edge piece on. It just gives it a little bit of time to dry. What I'm going to do, you want to be careful putting the glue on, and you'll see we're putting it right on the edge of our paper, and it would be very easy to get the glue, get it too gluey and then have glue everywhere. So all I'm doing is I am taking a tiny little dot and putting it right here on each one of these little, I don't know what you want to call it, but where this little piece comes down. And surprisingly, this is plenty of glue. It's what I used on mine when I put mine together, and it stayed quite nicely. I suppose if you wanted a little extra reinforcement, you could come down here and put a little bit on the little red pieces that come down like that. But then I worry about it squishing out all over everywhere. So, you know, you figure out what works for you. Then I took, let's see if I can pick this up now. Okay, flip it over. And I'm using my silicone mat because it's easy to clean up and I don't get adhesive all over my desk. I am lining this up. See this really fine little line right here at the bottom that goes across like a little bridge? I am lining that up with the edge of my cardstock. Eek. It really does go down nice and easy. I've just got clumsy fingers tonight. There we go. And then just push it down really well with your fingers just to make sure you got it there. And then trim off your edges. Kathy says she loves all the gingerbread stuff. You know, it took a little while to grow on me, but now I really like it. I like non-traditional Christmas colors, which is funny because you're either a non-traditional Christmas colors person or a traditional Christmas colors person. And if you are a traditional Christmas colors person, you can't handle the non. So it makes me laugh. But I prefer the non-traditional, and this is very traditional. So it took me a while to warm up to it, but I really do love it. Okay, now let's get this inside piece down. Let's move these out of the way. Okay. So what about you guys? Are you non-traditional Christmas colors or are you traditional Christmas colors? What is your preference? I'm just lining this up inside of my card. Oh, that just, I can't get it straight today. Talina said she likes all colors for Christmas, so she's both. She's both a traditionalist and a non-traditionalist. Oh, yeah, I think Talina's right. She likes to make cards with the smoky slate, and especially with the Peaceful Cabin set and dies. I think you can make some really neat stuff. Okay, now I almost glued this down, but a good rule of thumb is to stamp before you glue things down. That way, if you booger it up, you're not having to take apart your whole card. You can just do the one piece over again. So for this, I'm using the stamp that says "Wishing You a Merry Christmas" from the Frosted Gingerbread dies. Let me grab my piercing mat. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of stamp this in the middle. And it's even almost straight. I don't know how I'd handle it if I actually did something perfectly straight. Ooh, a teal and pink tree would be really pretty. Okay, so then we're gonna glue this down. Kathy says she prefers mostly traditional. Okay, so we're sticking that down. Now we're going to take the strips that we had, and we're going to take, I decided I liked the darker ones on the outside and the lighter ones on the inside, but it's totally up to you what you prefer. And there's so many fun patterns with this DSP that, I mean, you could make several of these cards using the different DSP and get entirely different looks. Okay, so I'm putting the first one here. That's not super straight, but not terrible. Okay. Kim says she's a dabbler in the non-traditional. She prefers the traditional, but she'll dabble. Well, good. That means you've got an open mind about it, at least. I think for me, part of it is that I like to, in general, I like to do the unexpected. And so that's why I like the non-traditional colors. Okay, now let's get these pieces on here. And we'll put the last one on. Oh, my adhesive is really liking to eat that paper. Okay, when it gets like this actually gives me a good chance to show you how you troubleshoot this. When your adhesive starts to tear your paper, which sometimes it does that, you don't want to keep trying, because it will, once it gets that kind of rough edge there, it will just keep tearing it. So at that point, I usually will just get a little piece of tear and tape, because I can lay it down easily and not have to worry about it. Awesome. Talina says she calls a card that she makes a mistake on a pattern. Yes, I love that. I think I heard someone once refer to it as an opportunity for creativity. Okay. Okie doke. Get this piece stuck down here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this little piece to make our little flap on our card. This is the red piece. I folded at the score line, and then just threw it on my desk. One of these pieces we're going to leave leave blank. This is a great place for you to write your message inside your card without worrying about it showing. Like if you were to write a message on this piece, which you could do, it may still show when the card is closed, so you may not want to do that. So that's why I left a blank one to write a message on. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue down the other one as well. Ah. Okay, and I have my 2 snowflakes that I cut out with the dies, one red and one green. And you know what? I think I'm going to put the card together first and then I'll glue them down. What you want to do here is you're going to put the glue on the back side of the red, the adhesive, whatever you use, and line it up, figure out where you want it to go. I wanted mine to come in far enough that you still got to see this scalloped edge right here. So that is just kind of a chance to remind yourself about where you want to put your adhesive. You don't want to put it all the way over here or toward the middle, or your card isn't going to open properly. So we're just putting it on the outer edges. And I'm going to line up my card kind of right in the middle here. Good enough for government work. Fold that in. Fold that one. Now we'll go ahead and put our snowflakes on. I'm going to put one, I'm going to glue it right down, and then the other one I'm going to put on dimensionals. Let's get those little dimensionals out. Could probably get away with just putting a few dimensionals on here, but I like to do everything in excess, as you know, so I put on probably way more than I need. Put one in the middle just so it doesn't sag. At my age, I have problems with enough things sagging. I don't need my cards to do it too. Thanks, Kim. You actually didn't miss a whole lot. As you can see, I'd pretty much just gotten started. I did put the measurements. I'll put this right here for you so you can see it. Those were the measurements of the piece. The main piece of cardstock is 5.5 by 11, and then I scored at those lines. Okay, got to get rid of all these little backings, or I'll find them all over my house. You guys have that too, where you've got dimensionals that just show up everywhere in your house? Okay, I'm going to just put that right there like that. And then I'm going to take a few of the matte decorative dots. And let's see here. I've got a few partially used packages here. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get some little ones because I want to put them right in the center of my snowflakes. Or yeah, they're snowflakes. What was it I kept calling them last week? Seahorses. No. Sand dollars. That's what I kept calling them last week. Okay. There. Then I want to add a few just to fill up some of this space a little bit. So let's put a big one right there. And then we'll put a couple of smaller ones. Come back. There we go. So that's our card. opens up like that. You can write your message on the inside. There you go. And we've got our matching envelope to go with it. Oh, my computer's telling me it wants to do an update. I should tell it not to do that. I would not want it doing it in the middle of this. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this one aside, clean up my mess, and we will move on to the next card. Thanks, everybody. I'm glad you guys like that one. Quick and easy. Okay, so the next card I have for you guys. Oops, still got to put some stuff away. The next one I have for you is this one. We're going to use the Eden's Garden stamp set, but we're actually just using it for the message that we're going to put in it. And then I also used the tailor-made tags. This is a great tag set. You can do so much with it. You can make tags to embellish your cards or scrapbook pages, or with Christmas coming up, just make some cute little tags for your gifts. The card we're going to make looks like this. It's another one that's really fairly simple. There's the inside. So let's get going on this one. Got all our little pieces here. Okay, so we've got the base of our card, which is the usual 5.5 by 8.5. It didn't look like it was scored right in the middle, but it is. And it's scored at 4 1/4 so that the card base folds right in half. Then I have some of this beautiful gold shimmer ribbon. It's really soft. A lot of times ribbons that are really shiny like this are kind of stiff and hard to work with. But this is actually really soft. It's a nice ribbon to work with. I've got a little bit of baker's twine. I have the piece for our envelope. Oh, I almost lost my little gold piece. So I've got the envelope and the piece for the flap, which we'll do here in a minute. I have the tiny little tag that I cut out of the tailor-made tags. I have the little hole reinforcer that I cut out with our gold foil. And I might even put that on first just so it doesn't get lost. I've got a scrap strap. Let's try this again. A scrap strip of Mary Merlot. I've got just a little corner piece, and you can really cut it any size you want. There wasn't a particular measurement to it. Corresponding with this larger piece of our designer series paper from the Autumn Harvest Meadow. Yes, Talina, I love this DSP. I think it's so beautiful. And, this is Blackberry Bliss, right? This is the Blackberry Bliss. And this particular piece comes from a larger one that it's got these little flowers that come up from one side of the paper, and then on the other side they come down, so you can cut it right down the middle and use just like this. And this paper is so beautiful. It really does all the work for you on your card. I've got a piece here of the Mary Merlot that is 5 1/4 by 4. Then a piece of Sahara sand that is also 5 1/4 by 4. It's for the inside of the card. I have the designer series paper, which is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. So let's start putting some pieces together. First thing I'm going to do is glue down that little gold enforcer so that I don't lose it, because I will. Don't need a whole lot of glue on it. Remember, if there's too much glue, it just squishes out and looks ugly. And this is really a fairly strong glue, so a little does go a long way. Oop. So I'm going to stick it down on there, make sure it lines up with the hole. By the way, on the tags, you get a die also for the reinforcers, so that's where that came from. Okay. And you know, I might as well, since I'm working on it right now, I might as well go ahead and just stamp the tag. What I have done is I have the Hello There stamp from the Eden's Garden stamp set. I really only want the hello part of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some tape. I'm going to mask off the word there because I don't want to get ink on that. Got my Merry Merlot ink. Oh, see, yep, that's what happens when you forget, if you forget to take the tape off, so don't forget to take the tape off. Glad I stamped on my scratch paper first. And I'm kind of trying to put it right about in the middle. There we go. Even got it straight. Clean off my stamp. Close your ink pad. This is a color that seems to like to get everywhere if you don't. Okay, we're just going to set this off to the side for now. Let's do our envelope. And I'm using the vanilla envelopes. We have our envelopes in both white and vanilla, and of course I use white more than the other, but it is nice to have them on hand if you want a little bit softer look. It's a nice warm look too for fall. Okay. Got it on there. I didn't even check to make sure I was doing it right side up. Good thing it was. Okay, cut off the extra here. Okay. This particular DSP has been very, very popular since it came out in August. It was on back order for a really long time, and it might be on the low inventory list right now. I could be wrong though. Okay, so got our envelope done. Let's work on the inside of our card for a moment here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little bit of adhesive along the edge of my triangle. Remember, you don't need a whole lot because you don't want it to squish out everywhere. So very little goes a very long way. Then I'm just going to line this up behind it. I didn't want a whole lot of the edge showing. You can choose how much you want to show, but I just wanted a little pop of color there. Make sure it's even, and then take your snips and just trim it down. Oops. Get this side as well. Did not do a very great job getting that straight. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now we're just going to adhere this piece right in the corner of our Sahara sand piece. For something that's triangular like this, I do kind of prefer to use my liquid glue because I can get right in the corners. and it's a little harder to get in the corners with the other adhesives. And get that stuck right down there. I want to make sure that I'm on the edge of that paper, not going over the edge. My whole life is spent going over the edge, you guys. Okay, now let's go ahead and stick this down to the inside of our card. Well, that sticks a little bit. Trim that. Oh, okay. Stick this down. Okay, so now we have the inside of our card done. The outside is going to actually be pretty quick and easy because, like I said, the paper does all the work for you. So first we're going to glue this down. Putting the DSP on the Merry Merlot. There's just a tiny little bit of a margin there, just so you've got a little pop of color. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take that gold ribbon and tie it around this piece. I'm not too worried about positioning quite yet. I'm just worried about getting the bow tied, and then I can move it around and get it where I want it to be. So tie my little bow. Now I'm going to fiddle with it just to get it the way I want it. Let's see. And I didn't want a super huge bow here just because it is such a bright gold. I thought it could be a little obnoxious if it was too big. So whoop. Okay, I think that'll work. So now I just kind of moved it left to right so that I could get it placed where I want it. Gonna cut off the tails here. I know it looks like I'm wasting a lot by cutting off this much of a tail, but I'll tell you a trick to tying bows is to give yourself permission to use more ribbon than what you actually need, because when you've got a good amount of ribbon, then you've got something to work with to tie your bows. It's the tighter it is, the harder it is to tie a good bow. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to take our little tag that we got started here, and let's put a few brushed metallic adhesive backed dots, and what I chose to use on here is the rose gold ones. I kind of played with them a little bit to figure out exactly what I wanted. Normally I do things in threes, but with the size of this tag, I felt that 3 was just too much. So I'm just putting 2 on here, and I'm using the smallest ones I can get. And I just put, let's see, 1. I fiddled with this the other night for the longest time, trying to find the best place to put them. Okay, so I've just got them like that. Just gives a little something so that the tag doesn't look quite so naked. Oops, wrong bag. Then take the baker's twine and feed it through the tag. And we're going to tie it around the bow. And all I'm going to do here is tie a knot that I can hide in the back. Maybe. And then trim off the extra. Another thing I like to do with my tags, because they do move all over the place and they'll move out of the position of where you like them, move this down a little bit on my card, is I like to put some dimensionals on the back to hold them in, hold my tag in place. So let's just put it right there. There we go. And now let's go ahead and glue that to the front of the card. Make sure I'm going the right direction here. And card number 2 is complete. We got that with our envelope. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? We can still do this. I took the we don't have a Mary Merlot Stampin' Blend, so I just used the cherry cobbler because they're very similar. And I'm just going to spritz a little bit on my card. And I just did it up at the top half there. Then I want to do a little on my envelope too, but I don't want to get any here. So I'm going to take a piece of scrap paper and I'm just going to stick it right like that so that the lip of my envelope is sticking out. I'm going to do it on my envelope too. But when you do spritz it on like that, give it a minute to dry. It doesn't take long. It is an alcohol-based marker, but if you start manhandling it too soon, it will smudge, especially if it's on DSP, because DSP has kind of a filmy kind of, I don't know, it's not really a film, but it coats the paper in a different way, so it takes just a little bit longer for the ink to soak into the paper. So there we have it, you guys. There's card number 2. Thanks, Kathy. Kathy says it's beautiful. Moving my cards out of the way here. Okay, so did I clean off my stamp? I did. Okay, let's get going, clean up this mess and get going on card number 3. We are making good time tonight, you guys. So this final card that we're going to make uses the Christmas to Remember stamps. It's just a lot of different seasonal sentiments that I like. And so we're going to use this tonight. And we're going to use my favorite DSP that we have of the holiday season. And it is the Whimsy and Wonder, I think is what the paper is called. It's part of the Whimsical Trees collection of products. Whoops. So here's our sample. Oh my gosh, you know what I did here on this one? This is so funny. I adhered this one shut all the way. Well, we won't be making that same mistake this time around. That is so funny that I did that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so the card base. This is just your normal 4.25 by 11. So it's a half a sheet cut lengthwise. But then I also scored it 2 inches from either end. So it folds in like this. Okay, that's still super funny to me that I sealed my card shut and didn't even realize I did it. Okay, then we have a piece of basic white. This is 4 by 5 1/4. It's for the inside of the card. Have a strip here for our envelope. I have several strips for the front of the card, as well as for the inside of the card. It's for the front. This is for the front. I have some silver twine to make the little bows. And then I have 3 ornaments that I'm just going to fussy cut. The ornaments are super easy to fussy cut. I'm not a fan of fussy cutting because I don't do it very well, but it is super easy with the ornaments. So I was willing to give it a go. So let's do our envelope. So what are your favorite collections of the Christmas products, you guys? Mine is the Whimsical Trees, and not just because it's pink, though that doesn't hurt any. Okay. And I'm going to put my flap on here. Okay, good. Talina says that she's sealed her card shut before too, so it's not just me. Okay, let's see. Robin likes the sweet stockings. That is a really cute one with all the little animals. Okay, trimming off the extra here. Oh, I got lots of extra left here. Talina says she doesn't have one favorite. She likes several. She likes the Gingerbread, the Peaceful Cabin, and the Whimsy and Wonder Suite. And she loves the sweet stockings. Okay. Yeah, they're all great. I really do like them. Okay, so we have our envelope ready. Set that off to the side. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to use the corner punch. I liked the rounded edges just for something different. So figure out where I put my punch. Here it is. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take these skinny strips and glue them onto the edges of the white. Actually, this is wide enough. I could probably use my seal. Where you go over the edge, you can just fold it back. Seal is very nice that way. If you have something that's directional, make sure you're putting it on the right direction. I think we've all done that too, where we've put something on upside down. Okay. And we're going to just stick that piece on. And I'm going right up to the edge of the paper. Sometimes I like to leave like the little white trim, but in this case I'm going all the way to the edge. I'm going to trim these pieces here. this one off. Okay, now this is where the fun begins. This is our triple punch. I love it. You can do these cute little, in this little embellished corner, you can do an oval hole if you, for like a ribbon or tag or whatever, or you can just round the corners. And that's what we're gonna do tonight, is round the corners. So you just fit it right into here up against the, it's got little edges that keep you from going in too far. And we're just gonna go around and do all 4 corners. You could do this card without rounding everything. I just liked it because it was a little different. Okay, so there we go. We have that all rounded. We can go ahead and adhere that to the inside of our card now. I'm just mounting it in here. It's just slightly smaller than the inside of the card, so you don't have a real huge margin there. That's totally fine. Then we've got these pieces that are 1 3/4 inches. I've got one for the top flap and one for the bottom flap, so we're gonna stick these guys on. Make sure your ornaments are right side up. Had to see if I was bleeding or if that's from the marker, but I think that was from the marker. Okay, put this one on. Oh, you know what? I forgot to round the edges. Okay, so come back out. Stick that right side up or upside down so that the adhesive doesn't make it stick to things I don't want it to. Okay. This piece seems a little stickier, keeps wanting to stick before it's all the way in. Okay, let's see. Now, before we stick these on, I want to round these corners as well. There we go. Now again, check to make sure you're putting these on right side up. Okay, move these out of the way. Okay, next we have this little strip that, this strip is 1.5 inches, I think. Yeah, 1.5. Because actually what I did is I took one sheet. So together this is all 11 inches. And I took the 1.5 inch off the top for this strip, and then I scored it at 2 inches there. So it took, this whole thing took a half a sheet. Now let's round our corners before we put the adhesive on this time. Okay, so let's glue this guy down. This little stripy piece is also from the Whimsy and Wonder DSP. Eek, it's crooked. Let's try it again. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I want to go ahead and cut my little baubles here. Now you can see these have the little loops at the top. I went ahead and cut those off because they're going to be covered by bows anyway, and then I didn't have to worry about cutting them as precisely as they needed to be cut. Sometimes when I am, well, most of the time when I am fussy cutting, I like to leave a little bit of a edge around what I'm cutting, just because it kind of frames it. But with this, I chose to cut right up against the design. The secret to fussy cutting is don't move your scissors, move the paper. Or so I've been told. Okay, then let's do this next one. See, these cut pretty quickly. Number 2, and let's get number 3 out. You see I'm moving the paper, not the scissors. I also forgot to tell you guys, I am participating in a vendor event, online vendor event here on Facebook this week. So there are 15 other vendors, so lots of great companies. And if you are interested in checking out what everybody has, check out my Facebook page, facebook.com/stamphappenings, because I do have a post on there that gives you the link to that event. Okay, so now we're just going to go ahead and stick these guys on the strip, and I'm just going to use dimensionals to do that. Kim agrees, move the paper, not the snips. And I'm putting this one right in the middle. And I do that, for me, I do that first because it makes it easier for me to figure out where I want to line up all the other pieces. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my silver trim and just tie some little tiny bows. This trim is a little harder to work with, I find. So you kind of gotta play with it and, you know, show it who's boss. Get your bow the size you want it. Yep, that looks good. So now I'm just going to trim it. And then I'm going to take my glue dots, and the glue dots are a little bit big. So what I have done is I take them, see if you can see what I'm doing here, and I kind of roll it up a little bit. Makes it a little lumpier, but it's smaller, and it, you know, it doesn't really show under the bow, so if it's a little lumpy, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to put one on there, tie my second one, fiddle with this, get it the size I want it. That looks good. And then I'm going to trim the tails. Roll up my glue dot. And we've got a last bow to do. Whoops. And now you have a knot. Good grief. Okay. Okay, trim it. And get another glue dot. Oops. Just wadded it up with my fingers. That works too. Yeah, Kathy, I'm not a great fussy cutter either. Talina says she's not. I've been trying to be more open-minded about doing it, but if I can cut something with a die, that's my preference. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to stick this onto our card, but we're only going to adhere it on one side so that you can still open your card, as we learned from my mistake on my sample. I am going to take a little bit of adhesive here, and I'm just putting it on the end. Figure out about where I want it. There we go. Stick it down like that. Then what we're going to do is I'm going to take some of the polished pink ink, and I've got the stamp that says "'Tis the Season," and I'm going to want to put it right about here. Actually, I think I want to move this over. I think this is too far over. Okay, now ink up my stamp, and I'm going to want to line it up right in the center here. There we go. Again, a little bit crooked, but oh, it's a lot of bit crooked. So that is something you want to watch for, since it's in such a small little space like that. It does stand out a lot more when it's not straight. Close the ink pad. So that's this card. And you just open it like that, assuming you didn't seal it shut. Yeah, I agree with you, Talina. It's not so much that you want other people to struggle, but it just makes you feel better when you know you're not the only one. Okay, so let's look at everything we made tonight, you guys. We have this one that we made with the Whimsy Wonder set. This one that we did with the Blackberry Bliss. And this one that we made with the Gingerbread one. What do you guys think? Oh, thanks, Kathy. So we actually got wrapped up a little earlier than usual tonight, so that's kind of cool. Just a reminder, if you would like to place an order, I would love to earn your business. Let me move this so you can see. I would love to earn your business. Just go to heathersides.stampinup.net. If you place an order under $150, please use this host code. This is what enables me to get prizes and things like that to give away to my customers. If your order is over $150, then don't use the code. There will be some freebies coming to you, and I want to make sure that you receive them. Another thing to keep in mind, though, if your order is over $75, remember what the information I gave you about our starter kit, where you would spend $75 and get $125 worth of stuff. So that's definitely something to consider. If anybody has any questions, I'll kind of watch the feed to see if anyone has any questions before we go. But if not, I will come back and check the feed later if any questions get posted later. I want to thank all of you guys for joining me tonight. I had a good time. I hope you did too. If you did, please make sure to like this video, share the video, and follow me on over to YouTube, where you can follow my channel. Look for Stamp Happenings, and that's where you'll find me. Have a good night, everybody.